Today, I'll be creating a painting with 3D elements, sort of a mixed media style. This was my first time, but I think the outcome turned out better than expected, so stick around to the end to see the final project. Hello, welcome back to LaseCREATES. It's been 2 videos since I did the last voiceover, so yeah, it's good to do another voiceover, but yeah, we're just going to leap straight into the video and let's get started. So today we're going to be creating a painting on a canvas, and I used a Pinterest picture to inspire the drawing today. So I first started by drawing the concept into a sketchbook, into my side sketchbook, for ideas. Once I got the basic idea I decided to start copying the drawing to the canvas. So I was going to draw it twice. Luckily, my sketchbook and the canvas size I used are actually the exact same size. So I decided to redraw the sketch as it will appear exactly on the canvas. So actually, this video is actually going to be a part of my series that I would like to start. It's just called Create with Lase. So, for example, this artwork I'm making now was actually inspired by a painting that my sister bought from someone else. So yeah, whenever I just get inspired by something or I just want to do a quick piece of art, I'm just going to call it Create with Lase. Yeah, this way I can share more of my art with you guys without just looking for trends. So I have, extra content ideas for you guys.
Okay.
When I drew it again, the next thing I did was I started to shade the back of the side sketch that I did. So this is just a trick you can do if you want to transfer a sketch to a different place, like a rough sketch to a different place. You can just shade the back of that sketch with a pencil. So when you shade it, then you just trace over that sketch into the
A few moments later.
the other page that you're going to use for the final sketch, and you would have your sketch be transferred directly without stressing. Wow. After we have traced it down, we reveal the lovely drawing.
Nice.
Here we are starting the painting process, and the first step is actually to paint the background. So I took a lot of color inspiration from the Pinterest picture itself. So with the background, I decided to go with a dark turquoise. So not too light, so it doesn't obstruct the tissues that I'm going to use, because those are going to be lighter blues, and not so dark so that the skin of the woman herself can stand out, because it's going to be a dark skin woman. Yeah, so I started that and I just tried my best to make sure there was enough coverage all over the palette. That's another reason why I used such a small palette. I wanted to make sure the lines weren't too streaky and I could get a good solid coverage all over the palette without it being streaky. All right. So when I was done with the background, I didn't like how solid it was. It looked too plain, because I thought about the other elements and I was adding out, and I was like, I don't think it's too much, so I can add a bit extra to the background. So when I decided that I could add a bit extra, I was trying to create some sort of photo shoot background or something like that. It might also look like clouds to you guys, but because it kind of looks like clouds to me as well. But all right, and with the skin, so I actually decided to paint the skin this way because I did a painting with this kind of style of like flat, I don't know, kind of abstract, stylized painting before. A couple of years ago when I made a painting of myself and my sisters. So I really liked it and I said, okay, I've not done anything like this in a while. So I decided to bring it back. So I'm going to paint the skin like one main brown color for her skin and then a darker color for the shadows. But since I've traced where the shadows are, so I'm just going to paint those areas. But yeah, you get what I mean here. So also I think I might actually be interested in learning how to actually paint people because I don't know how to paint faces. I just use color pencils to do that. But for now, this is the most of painting a face I can do. Alright, I'm going to start adding the extra elements. So that's the tissue papers and the gems. And by tissue papers, I mean colored tissue, like the ones for crafts, not tissue. Yeah. Anyway, I got tweezers to place the gems into the mouth because my fingers are big, so I wanted to be a bit more precise. Also, using tweezers made it easier, so I struggled a bit, but the tweezers finally started working to my advantage. And one mistake I made is I didn't really realize how big the gems were. So that was actually quite disappointing because my plan was to use it to cover the entire mouth. So now I'm going to have to go back and paint the white areas while the gems are on it. So next, after I was done with the lips, I decided to start with the tissue bow. And when I tell you I did not know what I was doing, like at all, I had no idea. I just started ripping tissue and sticking it anywhere around the bow. I just tried my best to follow the lines. But yeah, when I first started with the tissue, I was really doubting how the bow was going because I mean, like, everything was rough. The tissue was rough, the edges were rough, and it was just rough. I was just doubting, but when I started adding more tissue to it, it started getting better. And I also decided to use the same dark blue that I was using for shadows as some sort of outliner for the entire bow, so we know where the bow starts and stops, and also just to make the bow stand out a bit more, and I think it really helped. So now it's time for the flowers, and let me tell you, these flowers gave me like these flowers stressed me out. So first I actually started with a base green rectangle. I just took like so okay. And um well, yeah, when I was done with that green thing, um yeah, I started playing with the colors. I started playing with the colors of the flowers. I started with yellow and red initially, but when I started with the flowers, I didn't really like how they popped on the canvas, like with the blue and the purple. So I immediately switched to a blue and purple theme and decided to go with those colors of flowers. At the end of the day, I went to YouTube and was forced to do a YouTube tutorial, which actually ended up helping me. I found a tutorial on flowers and on leaves, so I decided to use that. So here I'm just showing you guys the process of me actually making the flowers and leaves. But yeah, once I decided that that's what I was going to do, I once again just decided to rip off the green completely, and I just painted over it. I painted our skin over it, and I painted the background over it. It wasn't even doing much in the first place, so I removed it and I painted over it, and then I stuck on my flowers and leaves, and it actually ends up looking really nice. So I decided to actually paint the mouth gold, and also when I was painting I decided that I should paint the gems a bit. So when I started painting the lips, I was originally going to remove the gems because I didn't want it to get messy. But I'm glad I saved myself the extra work because I actually decided to embrace the paint when it got on the gems, and I started to paint the gems actually purposely, and I liked how it looked because yeah, it just looks very cohesive, and I just liked how the paint appeared on the gems. Yeah. So when I was done, I decided to paint the edges of the frame, like the actual edges, since they were quite messy. I feel like this is something that might frame itself, so maybe painting the edges wasn't really necessary, but so yeah, for the final touches, I painted the edges of the frame and I added gems to the middle of the flowers. I was looking at it and the background was still looking a bit plain, but I was just like, allow it, man. But I wanted to add a bit something extra, so I just added some gems around the background, just a few. So, but when I added it, I was actually happy that I added it, because it added a bit of extra to it. So adding the gems was actually a nice move. And now, after the final touches, we are done with this mixed media canvas painting with 3D elements. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the painting. Let me know what you think of the series I'm talking about, Create with Lase. Yeah, you can watch another one of my videos if you and yeah, you can watch another one of my videos if you would like to. Thank you for staying to the end, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.